What's going on YouTube? My name's blinkycab, aka Mitchell Orth. What's going on? Hey, so I just sat down now to record a video on my camera gear. I was going to go through the lenses and the body and the mic and flashes that I have, but I've actually just had an idea to make a weird video. I want to talk about suicide, I guess. So I just finished watching 13 Reasons Why. If you haven't seen 13 Reasons Why, I do recommend it. It's a pretty good watch. It's about a teenage high school girl that kills herself, and she records these tapes, audio tapes, 13 of them, hence the 13 Reasons Why. And each tape is about a friend of hers, or like someone that she knew, that somehow in her mind contributed to her suicide, basically. So, and these 13 tapes get passed around the 13 people, so they get to listen to everyone else's tape as well as their own tape and make sense of whether she killed herself for the right reasons or the wrong reasons, or whether they're to blame. And then there's some other stuff that gets uncovered. It's a pretty good show, I must say. It's made really well. It's got some cool transitions and it's pretty cool. But anyway, the story of the show, I guess, is that this girl was bullied and she killed herself. And here's the clincher. This is why it's a weird video, because I don't really talk about this with many people, not really anyone outside of my family circle. But in February this year, my father actually committed suicide, which was pretty bizarre, right? Probably just got a little bit of a smile on my face now because it's awkward. It's an awkward thing, but it was totally devastating, as you can imagine. I was at work and my mum rang, and I live in NZ and my family's in Brisbane, Australia, so obviously I saw the call come through and I thought, okay, mum's ringing me on a Tuesday, you know, what's going on? And she goes, yeah, you know, your father's killed himself. And I was like, okay. Now, you're probably wondering the biggest questions that people ask. Like I said, I don't talk about this with a lot of people outside my family circle, but the few people that I have, they ask, you know, were there any signs? Did you know? Did he talk about it? Was it just one day you just got the call that he was dead, or was he like telling people, hey, I'm gonna kill myself? The answer to that question is, my dad, you know, I guess enjoyed having a drink from time to time. And sometimes, you know, most of the time it agreed with him, but then in other times didn't agree, which led to some funny things happening in his life with certain relationships with his family and friends and stuff. And then that caused sort of him to go very, I suppose, distant in a way. So towards the end of his life there, I suppose you could say he was somewhat of a recluse. Nearly, you know, just hanging out at home and not really interacting with anyone outside of his family circle. You know, he'd sort of dwindled away, he'd sort of cut his friends out and his own sort of like siblings and stuff out, down to a point where, yeah, he was just kind of secluded and reclused away on his own there. Which then I think, you know, depression set in. Like, that is what I would say, is that depression, you know, essentially took my father's life, is what I would say. So yeah, I think we all knew that he wasn't the happiest guy in the world, you know. Sometimes he'd hide it, and sometimes he'd be honest about it, and everybody lent support where they could. Everybody, you know, I think offered to, you know, we all made him feel loved and cherished and wanted and all the right things, but, you know, it's not enough, obviously. So when the call came through, that he had ended his life, it was a bit like, for me, it was a bit like, wow. I even think my first words were, wow, he actually did it. I think that was my response to my mum. Because it is one of those things where you're like, you know, someone's unhappy, they're just unhappy about certain things, certain situations, you know, it'll blow over. No, you know, like, this one thing won't last forever, just, you know, wait it through, or this other thing won't last forever. You know, like, we all get unhappy and upset at times about certain things in our lives. So, I mean, being sad isn't like, oh my God, this person's sad. Oh my God, quick, they need to be on suicide watch, you know? It's like, life is ups and downs, happiness and sadness. But I think, you know, my dad, you could see a trend that he was getting sadder and was talking, like he would just say things like, there's not a lot left in life for me. And yeah, he was 53 and he would say that he's done a lot because he had, you know, he'd had kids, he'd had different jobs, he'd traveled, you know, and so in his head he had done a lot. And I suppose the value of life in some sort of way wasn't there anymore, you know. So I don't know, that's what he chose to do. It was pretty devastating for everyone, especially my mum, you know, because for me, I've got 2 older sisters and 1 younger brother. So the 4 of us, like we all lost a father, but to my mum, like she lost her soulmate because they knew each other since they were like kids, like 14 years old or something, you know, married at 18 and, you know, boom, they're 53. So it's like, I can't even imagine what my mum went through, is still kind of going through. She's sort of getting good now, but I don't know. God, are you watching this, Mum? I hope not. I'll have to actually check with her if I can upload this video, but then if I check with her if I can upload this, she's going to want to watch it, so I don't know. Unless she says no, then of course I'm just recording this for no reason. But anyway, so back to 13 Reasons Why. I think, yeah, it's a show on suicide. Obviously a little bit different to my dad, but this chick felt like she was alone and empty and the only way out was to end her own life. And pretty bizarre. Yeah, I sort of got a bit scared over my own mortality after I went to my dad's funeral. I was flying home and I remember I was sitting on the plane. We were like taxiing down the runway to take off, and the guy in front of me, I could see had grey hair. And it made me think, oh, okay, he's older, he's got grey hair. And then I was like, yeah, he's older than me, he's aged. Hang on a second, there's going to be a point when I'm that old, and maybe I'll get grey hair. And then what happens? Where is this guy going to be? He might be dead. Does that mean I'm going to die? It's like, and then I started to get all stressed out about my own. And I remember I had somewhat of like a panic attack on the plane. And I don't ever get panic attacks. I think somehow my father's death and the funeral and like being there, it's all very sad and everyone's crying and stuff. So I feel like just going through that experience and then flying home. And yeah, I don't know. So it's like we all know that we are going to die, but we don't, like humanly, we're not meant to think about it. You know, we're not meant to think about death. We're not meant to comprehend it, you know. And so on this plane, it's like I was trying to comprehend it and my brain was hitting a wall. Like, hang on, I'm going to die. I'm going to become nothing. I'm going to not exist. And it was like, and I was like, fuck, this is like a panic, you know? Anyway, I did a lot of reading, a lot of philosophical reading. You're probably wondering, you know, like the big question here is whether you believe in God and an afterlife as opposed to once you're dead, it's all over. I was raised believing there was a God, but now in my adult life, I think science is winning for me, and I'm a bit of a like evidence kind of guy now, I think, and without the hardcore proof and all that scientists know about the universe and planets and all of that, like it's kind of like, I don't know, it's pretty, the idea like 2,000 years ago, the concept of a creator making Earth and everything in it and stuff kind of seemed feasible, but now I'm just like, wow. So my belief is when you die, and that's it. If there is something after you die, it must be, it's nothing to what we think it is here. All the religions are wrong, and it must just be something so epic. So that's the only way, like it's something so epic that we don't even know what it is. That could be, or there's nothing when you die, it's over, we're just species living, I'm just made up of energy and hydrogen, and that's it, you know? Religion, just quickly here, religion is great in a lot of ways, I think, for people. Saves a lot of people, brings community, you know, for a lot of people. It gives purpose, it makes people feel good. It's like when you're a member of a church, you know, church people are happier a lot of the time. They don't, you know, most of them don't drink or smoke or gamble or, you know, take drugs and stuff. So I feel like religion definitely has its place in the world. People say, you know, like it's the root of all wars and all that sort of stuff, and it probably is as well. But anyway, that's just my little quick tip on where I'm at, where I'm at. So I'm not saying that if you think there's a God or whatever, like that you're crazy and wrong. I'm just saying you know, veering this way, you know, open, but veering this way. Anyway, this video is going on way too long. But I didn't really get anywhere. I told you my story of my dad and the TV show, but yeah. Where was I talking about? I lost my like panic attack. Yeah, so just really quickly, I'll end this video, but I was paranoid about my own mortality, and what I had researched was that humans will never experience death. It's really bizarre, but when you die, you won't be nothing forever, because being nothing means that you must have some comprehension of being something, because nothing is still something. Because if you are nothing, you are essentially something. You must have like awareness, right? But you wouldn't have any awareness, so you can't be nothing because you're just. And nothing forever, well, you can't be dead like forever, because then you would have to have a like concept of like time, but you're dead, so you have no awareness, and there's no like concept of time. So because you're dead, so don't, I don't know, if you're one to watch this and think, oh yeah, I am going to die one day and I might become nothing forever. Well, you won't be nothing forever. You won't even experience death. You'll just be, unless of course you die and then you go to heaven and everything's great. If you believe that, then that's fucking awesome as well. But I'm just saying, for those of you that might be a little bit on my side of like, you know, we're all just floating on this ball through space, and we're you know, no different than the bloody ants, which is a bit smarter. Then yeah, you won't experience death. So don't freak out, because I freaked out for a long time. I was very paranoid, but I'm okay now. I think I was just going through that transition, like after hearing about my dad and reading a lot about suicide and death. And anyway, Chris Cornell this week killed himself. At 52, I think he was. He was a year younger than my dad, and he killed himself too. So and I mean, like Robin Williams killed himself, Kurt Cobain killed himself. There's a whole heap of other celebrities that have killed themselves, let alone, I think something crazy. My mum read some stat. It's like in the world, every 6 minutes or something, somebody kills themselves. It's ridiculous. So suicide's definitely out there. But all I can say is, don't ever for a second think that nobody's capable of doing it. But if someone you know has or like does eventually do it, like don't ever beat yourself up, because you'll feel guilt. Like I felt guilt. My like conscience was pretty damn clear with my dad, but I still felt guilt. Like somehow I had contributed to it. I don't know how, but I'm past that now because I realized I didn't. You know, I don't know, it's very easy to feel guilt. And in this show, 13 Reasons Why, it's like all these like kids that are listening to these audio tapes that this chick's left, like they all feel guilt in a way. Some of them don't, but this one kid, he's like the kind of level-headed dude, Tony, and he's like, oh, we all kind of killed her, you know. And it's like, well, I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going with this video. I was meant to be talking about like my lenses and stuff, you know, but I just sat down and felt really compelled to share this. So life's what it is, and make the best of it, because it doesn't last forever. So tell your mum and dad or your sisters or your neighbor or your friend or someone, tell them that you love them, and don't waste any time, you know. Like, yeah, we get caught up Netflix and chilling, but you know what I mean. Like, don't waste any time. Don't let fear win in life, because I can tell you now, when you die, it's final. And if there's an afterlife or not, I don't know, but your time here on earth is definitely finished, you know. So I think in death there is clarity. That is my quote. In death there is clarity, because everything all of a sudden makes sense. And all the fears and insecurities and anxieties and all those negative things that inhibit you from being the best who you can be, all those things just become like really small. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, I hope this makes sense. Sorry for the long video. I'll just check with my mum now if I can post this, but then she's going to want to see it. Anyway, stay cool, and, you know, just don't let people, you know, feel bad. Like, don't bully anyone, and don't think anyone's kidding if they talk like that, I guess. Like, so that's my suicide awareness there. Like, anyone is capable of it. But then I think I'm a realist, and I think that it is going to happen. Suicide's going to be around forever. I don't think we'll ever cure the planet of suicide. So if it does happen in your circle, well, don't sort of beat yourself up. It's painful and it hurts, and it opens a lot of questions of whys. And anyway, watch 13 Reasons Why. Like, it's very different to my what happened with me and my dad, but it still, you know, covers like suicide pretty well, and it's a pretty good watch anyway, you know. So, alrighty, sorry for the morbid. I'm gonna have to put like a disclaimer at the start of this video. That's what I'm gonna do, just to let viewers know that they're in for a morbid talk. All right, this is probably the most honest I've ever been in a YouTube video ever. Yeah, weird, eh? All right, well, take care, enjoy your lives, and try to be kind to everyone you encounter. Make a positive impact in your own life and in other people's lives. You know, positivity is quiet, negativity is much louder, so we need to boost that positivity up, you know, scream it from the rooftops kind of thing. So, all right, guys, love yous all. Thanks for watching. Peace out.